am on the island of Kuredu, which is one of the main tourism islands in the Maldives. Many people come here attracted by paradise, staying in beachfront bungalows that look out over turquoise lagoons. But I've come here for something else, and that is its marine life. The Maldives is in fact a world-class diving destination. The Maldives lie in the Indian Ocean. Nearly the entire country is made up of sea. Each of the 26 atolls are made of a coral reef encircling a lagoon, with channels dividing the reef ring. The sandy islands lie in strings, each island with its own fringing reef. Just under half the islands have now become tourism resorts, and business here is booming. So, Philip, Kuredu is quite a large island and you have a lot of people on this island. How do you manage everybody?
Well, Kuredu's operation is very big. We run the second largest hotel in the Maldives. On the island, at any given time, we have 820 staff and usually around 800 guests too. A lot of other hotels, because we've been around for so long, look to us for leadership. Just recently, we cut down our electrical consumption in the housekeeping department by 35% by deciding to dry the sheets out in the sun instead of using machine dryers. For all our water heating, we do with solar panels. We even do our own boat building.
You don't have to get boats imported from somewhere.
Exactly. And it also creates a lot of jobs for the surrounding community. We are about to build a water bottling plant. We are currently using around 360,000 plastic bottles per year. And we predict that when this bottling plant is finished in a few months, that we won't need any. We also recently built a football pitch. We've built an advanced drainage system which lies underneath the pitch. It collects all the rainwater, and we have a 90-ton rainwater tank. We use that water to sprinkle the pitch with. We do try and grow a lot of food and fruits and vegetables on the island.
To learn about growing food, it's always good to talk to the chef. So what are some of the nice foods that when I go to the restaurant I could get that are homegrown?
Well, actually, we have over 1,000 banana trees on the island.
Wow.
So we're actually self-sufficient when it comes to bananas. And then obviously, being in the tropics, we have a lot of coconuts.
Where do you hide all these trees?
All over the island.
So it sort of adds a nice tropical feel as well.
It totally does, yeah. And you can actually see the gardeners going around and picking them as well. We have actually quite a large garden in the middle of the island, and it's been there for quite some time, and we grow all of our lettuce. We grow tomatoes and peppers and chilies and lots of flowers as well, actually. And it's mostly the products that we can use on a daily basis. And we are probably, at this time, about 350 kilos a month in products that we actually grow ourselves.
Tourism contributes to nearly up to 80% of the local economy here in the Maldives, with many of the locals now reliant on this industry. Guests, they come from all around the world to enjoy the serenity of island life and look out at the sparkling seas. The ocean is in fact our world's largest ecosystem. It covers over 70% of our planet, and there are 5 major oceans. Seawater contains dissolved minerals, mostly sodium chloride, which is in fact table salt. The oceans are never still, even on the calmest days, as they are not only driven by waves, but underlying currents. Their waters are very deep, but 98% of all marine life lives in 10% of the ocean mass, the shallow waters of the coastal zones. 2 of them. Now this is really cool. When you stay on an island surrounded by sea, marine life is never too far away. Now I've just come to the other side of the island, and in this shallow lagoon, when the tide is right, you get heaps of little baby sharks. Now, I'm going to try and find a couple more, and the best place to find them is where the bait fish is, just over here. Kids always get a kick out of seeing nature, but sometimes are sheltered from it. I think it's important children understand the world they live in and how important every species is to our planet. By the time these kids grow up, many species will be extinct from our seas unless we do something about changing our global habits immediately. At age 8 here in the Maldives, kids can take their first breaths underwater and get a glimpse into another world.
That's the tank here, and the tank is full of compressed air, huh? So we're gonna have lots of air in the tank for our little bubble maker program in the lagoon, okay? What's okay, guys? All right, okay. Done. What's that?
No.
Not so good, nicht so gut, huh? And?
Up.
Up, hoch,
Down.
runter, down. Selbstständig, Arme durch. Oh, heavy. Is it heavy? Is it heavy?
Taking your first breaths underwater is exhilarating, no matter how old you are. The first skill to master is buoyancy. But once you master that, you can now meet all the wonderful marine life that swims in our seas. But diving's not just for kids, but us adults as well.
So tell me, as a guest that may be travelling from overseas like Australia, what do I get when I get here?
So here on Koredu, the Pro Divers Dive Centre here, it's the largest in the Maldives. And we're fully geared up to cater for both divers and also snorkelers alike. So a big proportion of the guests that come to us, they're not only diving, but they're also snorkeling here. We have a full team of instructors, so I think we have 14 instructors at the moment, multilingual, and we run boat trips to all of the 60 dive sites that we have here that are all, within easy reach of the dive centre itself. We have a resident population of green turtles here just on the backside of the island. They're always there. We have a resident population of manta rays here as well. We've identified now almost 200 different manta rays here in the atoll. We have dive sites where, again, if we go back to the sharks, where we have a cleaning station for grey reef shark. We're quite lucky here in this atoll in that we have access to a lot of channels. So it's these channels that bring in the water in and out of the atoll. And then obviously with this nutrient flow that's coming, we get a lot of big fish. We have dive sites here where you can expect to see 40 to 50 grey reef sharks, schools of eagle rays, 20 to 30 eagle rays together, big schools of jacks, mackerels, trevallies, barracudas around as well, Napoleons, tunas. The list is endless for the big fish fan.
The ocean always seems to provide so many wonderful things. It's always a pleasure to see the dolphins who are the ocean performers, and today they just wanted to play. Even a fleeting visit puts smiles on everyone's faces.
They've had to turn around because we passed a blue fishing net, and in that blue fishing net apparently someone saw a turtle and it looks like it's trapped in the net. So they're turning around and we're going to try and get him out of the net.
With a stranded turtle needing our help, we jumped into action. He had really got himself stuck. Our presence made him nervous and he panicked. So we wasted no time in setting him free. That's one happy turtle.
We got him! Happy turtle! He just went, boom! Never seen a turtle take off so fast.
This turtle was very lucky. A keen eye on board spotted the net. But there's no doubt millions of sea creatures die horrible deaths drowning in nets.
Nets like this are what catch a lot of our marine life. And as you can see, if you got tangled in this, you wouldn't feel very happy yourself. So it's heavy and they just throw it away.
It's that heavy.
Yeah, feel how heavy it is. And the little turtle was stuck in that.
Oh my gosh, that is.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be stuck in that, would you?
After saving a life, we felt pretty chuffed, and our epic adventure continued.
It's pretty cool as you cruise within the atoll. that you can see the islands that surround you that make up a ring-like formation. Now these are the remnants of ancient volcanoes. There used to be volcanoes that came through the top of the ocean, but they've long since gone, and what's left is the fringing reefs that formed around them. Now these fringing reefs offer the divers the most incredible experiences, and of course, because they're so isolated in the middle of the Indian Ocean, you get big marine life.
Jumping into the Indian Ocean for me is always fun, as the majority of my diving is in the Pacific. But I'm used to sheer walls and blue seas, so I felt right at home. The secret when diving channels is to stay in the blue and look back over the reef. This is where the sharks and pelagics mainly hang, so it offers the best vantage point. But the other reason is, if you move too close to the channel, the currents intensify. A few minutes into our dive, we found sharks. First there were 1 or 2, then there were 10. And then I found a wall of sharks, at least 50 sharks all at once, possibly even more, as I neglected to count them. I was distracted by a couple of eagle rays gracefully gliding along. Following one little guy, I soared through the water. But once he went over the top of the channel, my cameraman and I felt the current picking up. Staying low, we made our way out to the blue, coming across a large school of eagle rays hanging motionless, while we were madly finning and out of breath. A marble ray was in front of us, who had a big-eyed trevally as a best friend. And that pair led us back to a huge school of trevally, just hanging out in the channel entrance.
They've always been your second pair of eyes, so when you need glasses, you gather the girls to find your look. Bashful, bold, smart, flirty. Sometimes it's unanimous.
Oh, yeah. Winner?
And sometimes you need a deciding vote.
Yes.
Oh, I need another opinion.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What do you think? Love them.
Spark your style for less with hundreds of frames from new brands like Flower by Drew Barrymore, backed by our 12-month guarantee.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Izard. I've teamed up with Lay's Wavy and Brit & Co. to create some really tasty recipes inspired by Lay's Wavy flavors. Today, I'll reveal one of my favorite recipes. We'll use these Lay's Wavy original chips to make sushi. Yes, you can totally put chips in your sushi, and it's amazing.
UPS is a global company, but most of our employees live in the same communities that we serve. People here know that our operations have an impact locally. We're using more natural gas vehicles than ever before. The trucks are reliable, that's good for business, but they also reduce emissions, and that's good for everyone. It makes me feel very good about the future of our company.
When the currents here subside, it's time to dive the tealers, otherwise known as bommies or pinnacles. Schooling snapper, sweetlip, and butterfly fish enjoy the calm and ball up in schools, parting only to let the noisy, bubble-blowing divers go through. Among the schools of fish swim the odd turtle, and it feels like you could well be in a giant aquarium. The fish life here was blowing me away, with plenty of great encounters on offer. This truly is world-class diving, but in the back of my mind, I felt I was looking at ghostly seas. There were the remnants of plentiful coral structures, but seemed to be a distinct lack of coral life on a number of the dive sites we visited. This is not something I only notice here, but on coral reefs all around the world. Corals are the reef's architects and have constructed underwater cities using sunlight and photosynthesis to feed and grow. These coral reefs, which have been built, are home to 25% of our marine life, and the health of the ocean ecosystem relies on healthy reefs. But our oceans are changing, and quickly. I wanted to investigate what is happening in the Maldives.
So one of the things we're facing as our oceans get warmer and they get more acidic because of climate change is the fact that the corals are starting to bleach. Now, the good news is there are areas definitely coming back, but we don't know how our temperatures are going to go in the near future. So the scientists are monitoring corals all around the world to see what's happening.
A scientist I know very well in Australia has been studying the reefs of the Maldives, and I was keen to get his point of view.
So how is the health of our coral reefs globally at the moment? Are we losing reefs?
Globally, we are losing reefs because we have problems with overfishing, pollution in coastal environments, and on top of that, you have things like mass coral bleaching events. In 1998, there was a mass coral bleaching event that spread around the world and killed up to 95% of corals on some reefs. And unfortunately, the Maldives was one of those reef systems that suffered dramatically with 90 to 95% coral death. This was caused by a sudden increase in temperature beyond the tolerance of the symbiotic algae and the corals, and led to massive coral death and destruction of the reef system. The really interesting thing about the Maldives is that in some of the areas where they are protected from overfishing and from other human impacts, the reef system has bounced back dramatically, and it's a fantastic example of just how incredible the ability for coral reefs to recover from major events is, as long as you protect them and allow natural recruitment and natural development to occur.
Because the secret for coral reefs is symbiosis, isn't it?
Symbiosis is the key. There's a symbiosis that creates the reef, and that's between the microscopic algal cells, millions of which reside in the coral polyp tissues. And they use the sunlight energy, just like land plants around us do, and they manufacture sugars that they spread across to the coral tissues. That gives the corals energy to grow their skeletons and grow the reef system. If you lose that symbiosis, and that's what occurs during mass bleaching events when the temperature gets too hot, the algae are expelled from the corals and they lose their energy source, and that's why so many corals die. The ones where overfishing does occur, or pollution or other chronic stress from people, they're simply not recovering.
So for the health of our planet, how important is it to control fishing?
Fishing is one of the key human activities that threatens marine ecosystems worldwide. Overfishing of the fish communities means that you get what we call a trophic imbalance. So different groups of fish and different organisms in a healthy functioning reef system keep each other and their populations in check. If you remove selectively top predators, which is what humans like to eat, then you start to get the other groups below those exploding, and they have an effect on the other groups that they eat. So the whole ecosystem gets out of balance.
With so much tuna being consumed around the world and seeing so much tuna coming into the resorts here at the Maldives, I wanted to know how they're catching their tuna here in this country. I'm at Varu, which is one of the leading world examples of sustainable tuna fisheries. So Sola, tell me what's so special about the fishing industry that we have here in the Maldives.
Okay, for a start, fishing industry is the lifeblood of Maldivians. Tourism may be bringing in more money, but in terms of wealth distribution, fisheries industry is the most important. Until 80s, only Maldivians are fishing from West Indian Ocean, or from Sri Lanka or India, they catch very little by nets. But early 80s, Persenas started coming in West Indian Ocean. And when you see the statistics, you might see that Persenin, they are having a steady catch. But what they are doing is that Persenin, they have been increasing in their fishing effort from time to time. Like it used to be small Persenas, then came big Persenas, and then came Persenas with fats. But in recent years, Maldivian fishery has come down. I believe that the main reason for Maldivian fishery to come down is that Persenin itself is bad, and the Persenin with fats is even worse.
Just explain to me what a fat is.
They just throw these buoys as the fish aggregating devices with the sonars and satellite tracking devices. And they track the fats, and they see how much fish is there, and they scoop the whole bunch of fish, whole school of fish together.
They might not miss a fish.
So they will not allow anyone to go out. And whether it is dolphin or turtle or anything, they will scoop out everything. And we don't do netting, and we don't do Persenin, and we don't bite, and we don't pack it. And we are totally against it. When you open a can of tuna from our factory, you are assured that it's pollen line. When it's pollen line, you are assured there is no bycatch. And then there is no harm to dolphins, there is no harm to turtles, and it is totally sustainable method of fishery. And what we are trying here is, it may be more expensive because it's caught one by pollen line, but what we are trying to do here is that support a sustainable growth of fishery, because the sustainable fishery itself is important to sustain Maldivians. That is Maldivians' livelihood. If fishing industry is not here, hundreds and thousands of jobs will be lost.
Do you think that if every industry around the world used this pollen line fishing, that we would have a sustainable tuna industry?
Of course. I believe that the way forward to sustain the tuna fishery is pollen line fishing. And if everybody else started doing this, I think we all will have fish for a few more years than expected now.
The Maldives sort of grew up as a fishing nation. Before the tourists first came in the 1970s, this was their primary industry here. So a big population, or a big part of the population here, they're still fishing. So for us to work together with these fishermen to try and preserve the underwater aspect and the underwater world that they have here, which is what's bringing the tourism in now, it's a huge challenge, but it's so important for the economy here.
Over my stay in the Maldives, I explored many sites, from shipwrecks and remote atolls with new coral growth coming back, to snorkeling around the sand islands. I played with sharks, rays, and many more awesome creatures. But some of my favourite moments were with the resident turtles that call Karedu home. I love turtles. They are prehistoric reptiles that keep to themselves. Whether they are happily munching in shallow lagoons or sleeping in the reef, they never seem to harm anybody. At a dive site known as the Caves, they frequently pass you heading for air. And life around here is all about breathing, swimming, and resting again. I watched a big male make his way out of the reef and head into the blue. I decided to escort him. The journey took me away from the reef, where he stopped to socialise with a school of batfish. After a little while, he swam off again, and together we cruised the ocean side by side. There are 7 turtle species in the world, and in recent years their numbers have declined rapidly. Drowning in fishing nets, a major cause, but also development of nesting sites and now dredging to allow more and more boats into ports is becoming a major issue. So many marine species are on the brink and in urgent need of proper environmental laws to be enforced on a global scale to manage industries that have severe impacts on marine life, wildlife, and environments. If we don't see past the need for things now, we will possibly change our world forever. So many industries, like the tuna industry, rely on fish stocks, but those industries will soon collapse because of mismanagement. It's never too late to get serious about preserving life on our planet. Eventually, all of us, even us mermaids, must come up for air. And as the sun set on my final day, I reflected on all my wonderful memories.